Welcome everyone. We're gonna just give it a few moments to give everyone a chance to join, and then we'll get started here in just a minute. Welcome everyone. We're just gonna give it another 30 seconds or so before we get started. Thanks so much for joining us here. All right. Okay, we can go ahead and get started here today. Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here for our coffee session on November 18th. Um, we are, like always, sponsored by the California Department of Education, or CDE. My name is Tyler Shakwa. I work for the training and outreach team here at ETS. And like usual, we'll be guiding you through our session today where my colleagues from ETS and the CDE and some other partners will provide updates and answer your questions in the background after we go through as we go through a few prepared topics and reminders that are hopefully timely for you all. And as usual, the chat is closed to participants, but will be used to just share some links with you. And your questions can go into the Zoom Q&A feature. And you can put your questions there. You can see what other folks ask and see the questions that get answered in the background as well. Like usual, today you can download today's materials by going to our Linktree page to get to our upcoming training opportunities page. I think we'll also put a link in the chat straight to um, uh, that training page as well. But if you go to linktr.ee/Cal Outreach, you can select the upcoming training opportunities button, which will take you to our page. You go to the coffee session under the current month of November, and there you will find the links to download the resource guide and PowerPoint. And all the links that we'll talk about today will pretty much all of them will be in that resource guide for you. Our agenda for today, we'll go through training opportunities and some new and updated resources like usual. Going to talk a little bit about changes to deliveries and returns for answer books and paper pencil tests through FedEx. Talk about test security, call drivers, and reminders like usual, and then get to any questions and answers that we haven't already covered. So let's get started. Several training opportunities coming up soon, starting with continued Connect for Success sessions. So there was one yesterday on the 17th, and there's more on the 21st of November. And these are opportunities to connect with your success agents and get to know them a little bit better. Especially useful for new coordinators, but everybody welcome, of course, to get some intimate time with your success agents, get to know them a little bit better. So we definitely recommend you go to those. November 19th is the Charter School Assessment Coordinator Quarterly Network Meeting. And also on November 19th, both of these tomorrow, will be the summative alternate ELPAC AST, or administration and scoring training overview and Q&A. So if you have any questions about the summative alternate ELPAC AST, you'll want to go to that session tomorrow afternoon and get your questions answered. A few more upcoming trainings here. We have on November 20th, a new coordinator training webinar number 7, which will be focusing on preparing for testing. And then December 3rd and 10th will be our pre-test virtual training series. On December 3rd is what's new for ELPAC, and on the 10th is what's new for CAASPP. Those sessions focus a lot on what is new this admin year. So a good overview of everything that's changed, and some tips to prepare for testing. So please sign up for that if you have not already. And then the next copy session, of course, will be held on December 9th, the second Tuesday of that month. And as always, we hope that you are interested in getting involved with shaping California assessments in the future. So you can visit our Get Involved page or use this QR code to get to that page where there are more details about signing up for different meetings and different opportunities. So the deadline to apply for the California Alternate Assessments or CAAs for ELA and math item review meeting. That deadline is December 2nd. Deadline is December 3rd for the California Science Test or CAST range finding meeting, and January 2nd of 2026 for the alternate ELPAC item review meeting. So definitely encourage you to learn more about those opportunities on that page. All right. A few new and updated resources are ready for you all. So the usually much anticipated California student accessibility graphics have been updated and added to our accessibility resource graphics webpage on our website. So those have been updated to match the new accessibility matrix, which is also up. And our accessibility guide, the full manual with a lot of details and updated descriptions, has been completed as well. So that is also available on our CAASPP and ELPAC manuals library. And we also kind of upgraded one of our lists and lookup tools on our website for RSVP for the initial ELPAC, which is the rotating score validation process. You should be aware of that already, but we just made that tool better than just a list. We made it a lookup tool like some of our other web lookup tools, like for second scoring or form assignments. So that is a small update there. And then a few trainings that occurred recently that we have now posted the recordings on our training upcoming training page. The October coffee session recording is up there. The previous new coordinator training, webinar number 6, which was covering practice test, training tests, and interim assessments. And then our 2 Lexile and Quantile sessions, those recordings are posted as well. And very shortly, by today, our accessibility resources webinar recording will be posted. They're not on this list, as well as the summative ELPAC AST Q&A webinar that occurred a couple weeks ago. Both of those recordings will be up there as well very, very soon. Okay. So a bit of a change this year regarding any shipped materials being delivered or returned. They are now going through FedEx. Everything going forward will be through a new FedEx portal, so that they're the new carrier for any paper pencil test delivery returns. So that includes special versions like Braille and large print, and it also includes ELPAC K through 2 answer books. So the new shipping portal will be live in December, and return instructions that include the portal access details will accompany the orders that you get. Let's see. Also of note, any paper pencil materials sent to LEAs will be bundled in packs of 5 instead of packs of 10. So that's an important thing to note. And then Smarter Balanced and Cast paper pencil test or special versions will use the portal to generate labels to return materials instead of receiving pre-printed labels with your order. And then just to note as well, materials are being returned to North Carolina instead of New Jersey like they were in the past. So shouldn't be anything too crazy or surprising for you, but we wanted to make sure that you all knew that so it didn't catch you off guard that there's some changes with those details. All right. Now we'll go through some test security topics, and I'll hand it over to Moses Jorge.
Thank you very much, Tyler. Good afternoon, everybody. As we get ready, first, congratulations. We've made it to November. You've made it through this busy season. Yes, as we get ready for next week, in in the theme of the season, first and foremost, before we move any further, I really want to say a big thank you to each and every one of you for everything that you do on a daily basis to support your schools, to support your teachers, and obviously all that we do on a daily basis for the sake of our students. Enjoy your holiday, enjoy next week, and know that you are greatly, greatly appreciated for everything that you do. As Tyler said, some timely information and updates that we want to bring to you, and we'll start off with some test security issues that we need to make sure that even though you know about them, on the next slide, you'll see one of the first things that we want to point out to you and bring again to your attention is the issue of the upcoming trainings. And we'll start with CAASPP. Now we'll touch on some of the ELPAC specifics with regards to trainings and test security. And we'll start with test administrators that are going to be coming up on starting with our summative assessments. And you have some options, LEAs, you have some options. Our sites have some options, and we want to make sure that we bring those to your attention. For your test administrators that are going to be working with CAASPP, we have. And if you have not seen this resource, this first resource, it's an incredibly valuable resource and tool that you could use and that can be used at all levels with regards to the CAASPP trainings that test administrators need to go through in order to, again, make sure that for the sake of our students, we're handling all of these assessments in a very uniform way. So in Moodle, if you have not seen it, please, I urge you, take a look in Moodle. There's a test administrator tutorial that you could use, that your sites can use. If you have not seen it, please take time, LEAs, look at it, see what it entails, see how valuable it could be, and then see how you could work it in to your trainings with your sites so that they understand the value of it for them to then be able to use it. Another option for the CAASPP trainings for the test administrators, slide deck. Take a look. There's a link, and if you haven't yet gotten downloaded the this slide deck, this presentation that we're using right now, please download it because specifically to the next resource that I'm pointing out there, the link is there. There's a slide deck. Test administration trainings and tutorials webpage has a slide deck that you could use that you can modify. Yes, tweak it, modify it, personalize it, but use it as a great starting point, as another option, as another tool that you could use in your trainings of the test administrators for CAASPP. And then obviously, we need to make sure that we all at all of our levels understand that there's going to be some local training that we need to really specifically hone in on information that's found at the CAASPP and ELPAC website in order to make sure that all of our administrators are on par with how we need things done. And then for CAASPP, there's that other group of individuals that are administering tests, the test examiners. And take a minute, especially for you new ones and new coordinators that still might have all of these acronyms somewhere stored in your deck of Rolodex cards for any of us, and you're still trying to remember who's a test examiner, who's a test administrator. Please remember your test examiners for CAASPP, specifically those individuals that are going to be administering the CAAs for ELA, math, and science. There is training in Moodle that must be attended to. So please be looking at the different resources, the different options that you have. Now, moving right along, now for CAASPP, we also have for LEAs, LEA coordinators, please, as you're getting ready to start thinking about the rest of this calendar year, mark your calendars. LEA CAASPP coordinators, incredibly important training coming up. The link is there on this slide for you to register. Get it out of your way now, register for it now. You LEA CAASPP coordinators, incredibly important that you attend with us and our team the pre-test. The pre-test virtual training that is available for you LEA CAASPP coordinators, and it will be held on December 10th. It's available for you to register. And then obviously, again, we finish with any local policies and procedures that you need to attend to, please. CAASPP coordinators. These are some of the training requirements and some of the trainings that are available and resources that you could use. And now, even before CAASPP starts, next set of trainings, next set of assessments have to do with our ELPAC. And here we go. For our ELPAC, please, the attention needs to be again in Moodle. The ELPAC summative alternate administration and training in Moodle for ELPAC test examiners and ELPAC coordinators. The deadlines to complete these test examiners, you cannot start administering without having attended to these trainings. And again, LEA ELPAC coordinators, another date, another incredible important training. Again, registration is open. The link is there. Take advantage. Do it right now. LEA ELPAC coordinators on December 3rd. We will be having again the pre-test training that we offer for you to receive all of the information that you need around ELPAC and the summative ELPAC that is going to be coming up soon here. And then we finish up with, again, ELPAC deadlines, LEA ELPAC coordinators. Some important deadlines. First and foremost, December 8th, if you have not yet done so, please, ELPAC LEA coordinators. In Moodle, again, the summative ELPAC AST training by December 8th so that you can go on your holiday break and not be worrying about completing any of these mandatory trainings. And then for the summative alternate, the ELPAC LEA training within 2 weeks of registering a student that is eligible to take it. And we finish again, obviously, with the fact that any additional training on your local policies and procedures is required along with any of these mentioned options that we have and mandatory trainings that we've asked for you to make sure that you attend to. So please, as you're getting yourself ready for this holiday season to enjoy it best, sign up for the pre-tests that are coming up and take time to get these trainings out of the way and ready for you to start working with your sites. And then finally, as we know, interim assessments is something that with regards to test security, we want to make an emphasis on every single month, as we know that every one of you all year long are using this incredible resource of the interim assessments. So please, even though they're optional, to measure student progress and inform instruction, these interim assessments have to be something that we attend to with regards to test security. And this month's highlight that we wanted to share with you on the next slide has to do with, this is a time in the year where we know important decisions are being made IEPs all year long are being made. Parent conferences have just finished and some are going to be coming up. We need to make sure this is timely for us to bring to your attention. And for LEAs, please make sure that this information gets into the hands of your site coordinators. Because as we know by Ed Code, for all of the amazing reasons that the interim assessments are an invaluable tool for your teachers and students to be using all year, this is a detail that we cannot overlook. That by Ed Code, the interim assessments must not be used for high stakes purposes. And here, please, if I can ask you, make sure that a slide like this gets into the hands of your site coordinators. Because look, if you've ever wondered, what do high stakes purposes mean? Here's a list of some of the important and timely things and decisions that high stakes purposes could look like. And so please, as we want to encourage you to continue encouraging your sites to use the interim assessments, we want to make sure that in a timely manner, we remind you about this very important detail. And with that, before I hand it off to our amazing stairs team, again, I can't tell you how much we appreciate, on behalf of all of us, all of our partners, we thank you greatly for the work that you do on a daily basis to support our teachers and students. And with that, have a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday break. And Tyler, thank you so much. I hand it right back.
Thanks, Moses. Yeah, and then we'll have Colton go through some stairs updates for us.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Excuse me. My name is Colton Shaner, and I'll be updating y'all on the Security and Test Administration Incident Reporting System, or STARS. Today's update will be in regards to mid-year grade changes. In previous years, if a student, say, moved from third grade to fourth grade, LEAs would reset the third grade assessments. Their grade level would update in TOMS up to the fourth grade, and then they would restore and SSR would develop or produce in the fourth grade. This year, mid-year grade changes will no longer require a reset or a restore appeal to be completed. If I'm a student and I test in third grade, I get a mid-year grade change up to fourth grade, I will just receive the SSR in that first tested grade level of third grade. Which is my next line. Student score reports will display the student's first tested grade level, as long as it is within the same grade band or grade span. This is relevant to all assessments for CAASPP and ELPAC as long as they are within that same grade band or grade span, other than interim assessments, since those can be administered outside of any grade levels. Examples of these would be CAST assessments for high school or any of the ELPAC as long as they're in the grade span. So if third grade moves down to second or second up to third, that student would have to retest since it is out of the grade span. Yeah, that is update for today's stairs.
Thanks so much, Colton.
Thank you.
Tyler, did you want to answer a couple of questions that we
Yeah.
have about the Moodle and ASTs and the differences before we go into the call drivers?
Yeah, I think so. Thanks, Christine. Yeah, as Moses talked through the um, really vital nature of our training for all of our assessments. Wanted to answer a couple of the questions about Moodle and ASTs. So the first question was, is the Moodle training ready? I thought it wasn't open until December. Um, but for all of the most recent trainings in Moodle, they should all be available. So as of, I think it was about October 20th, is summative LPAC uh, trainings were available. And as of November 3rd or so, I think it was when the summative alternate LPAC uh, um, trainings launched, and then there should also be the California Alternate Assessment or CAA test examiner trainings available for the new admin year as well. If you are having any trouble with any of or questions about the Moodle courses specifically, you can ask. You can reach out to SCOE. They have an email address, moodlesupport@scoe.net. And the other question there was, how is the ELPAC AST training different from the LEA Moodle training? So we have kind of a lot of different language for the different types of training. So I'll try to be as clear as possible. There are several different types of trainings available in Moodle. So by each program, so for the ELPAC ASTs, there are LEA certification courses that LEA coordinators need to complete by a certain time, and those are at a high level that are about the whole district or LEA, and information about training and um, test security and all of that stuff. But then there is a separate course in Moodle that for the summative LPAC is called calibration and training test. So every test examiner needs to calibrate, and only new test examiners need to do the training associated with that. But there's kind of multiple parts to it. And actually, there's a new tool that will kind of help you determine which courses you need to take. And I know they'll be talking about it on the Summative Alternate LPAC AST Q&A webinar tomorrow. We're calling, I think it's called the Moodle Decision Tool. That's a little form where you can put your role and the assessments that you're in, and it'll spit out the course names and the links that you need to take in Moodle. Yeah, there's also a lot of information on our test administration and tutorials webpage. Not everyone knows about this webpage, but I just put that in the chat as well. And that's got expandable sections for each of the different trainings, the details about the deadlines and when everything's available, and it's got that Moodle support email address towards the top of the page as well. Hopefully that answers those questions.
And Tyler, I just wanted to mention somebody had tried to email Moodle at scoe.net and it came back as undeliverable. So just so you know, the correct email address is Moodle support at scoe.net if you're having a problem with Moodle.
That's right. And yes, AST is kind of the umbrella term for the LEA certification and for the test examiner certification or calibration. Yes.
A good way of understanding it. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. All right. Now I think we can move on to our call drivers, and Sylvia's going to take us through a few topics.
Hello, hello. For those of you that just seen me yesterday, I'm here again. Happy November. I hope you are all getting prepared to do your favorite family traditions on Thanksgiving or perhaps try a new dish. You never know. Anywho, these are your call drivers for November. We're going to start off with specifically the California Educator Reporting System, also known as CERS. Our first call driver of this month is going to be surrounded around results. And so what we typically have been seeing as of the last month or so is results. We're getting a lot of inquiries via email mostly, just asking, hey, my student completed this specific interim assessment. How come I can't see the results in CERS? And so it's very important that not most, but some of these interim assessments do require hand scoring, which is going to be in that hand scoring system. And the best way to check that so that you go into it not blind and understanding just how many items may have hand scoring that is required is by using that hand scoring lookup tool that's actually located on our interim assessment page. This is a really cool new resource that we just made available for LEAs last school year. And so if you're not familiar with it, I would say reach out to us so we can talk to you about it and make you familiar with it. But just know that if you're not seeing results in CERS, you're first red flag should be, is there anything that needs to be scored? And so if there's something that you just are not sure about or have questions, please don't forget to reach out to your success agent so we can help you dive a little deeper if needed. All right. And our second one here is also surrounded in the SIRS system. However, it's going to be based on student groups. And so as we're getting into the season where we have to get student groups uploaded, we are seeing a lot of errors. And so these are just some quick tips to keep in mind. These are also available when you are going through the SIRS user guide. And they're also available as you are actually in the SIRS system and in the process of uploading student groups. And so our first pro tip here is you're going to want to refer to the group template file subsection of the SIRS user guide. The instructions are formatted there and they tell you how to use the new file for the 25-26. I know that we get inquiries at state, how come I can't see the new school year? Go ahead and follow this link and that'll give you the walkthrough steps. Our second pro tip here for student group upload errors is going to be the student group upload file. The format. It does have to be formatted as a CSV file with column names and cell values that match the file format template to the T. So when we say this, do not edit it. We mean it in love. Do not edit that file. Just let it be and enter the information so that your people can have access. And our last bullet point here for these student group upload errors are going to be the group file rules. It's important that each one of them are applied to prevent the common format issues. Typically, those common format issues are going to result in that bad data error. And so some examples of that would be the school year and the group user email. And so if there is some information in that SIRS user guide to help correct those bad data errors, but ultimately, if you just need some one-on-one connection, please reach out to your success agent. We can help you work through those bad data errors. And our last one, Moodle enrollment keys. This seems to be a very hot topic. And so specifically around the summit of ELPAC for this 25-26 school year, LEA coordinators with the role of LEA ELPAC coordinator did receive an email with the unique access code for the AST, also known as the administration and scoring site. The subject line, as you see here on our slide, reads ELPAC 25-26 Summit of ELPAC Administration and Scoring Moodle training site now open. And so my best training tip here is go into your Outlook box and just do a keyword and type in those first few letters. It should pop right up for you. And if for some reason you still don't have access to it, reach out to us over email and we'll happily write it over to you. As they mentioned earlier, Moses did, Moodle is a great support also. You can also email into Moodle support at scoe.net. They can also provide you with those codes. The access code is used to enter to choose the program and get the Moodle enrollment key. So what that means is the AST site itself, that is where those access codes are going to be entered. And once you enter that, it'll display the name of your LEA, aka your district, and it'll go ahead and display those enrollment keys that you can share out to your LEA staff. For the LEA coordinators, you guys can share those enrollment keys, just as I mentioned, share it out to your staff. And you just want to make sure that you're sharing it out to only the members that will be testing students. You don't want to just share it out in a blast message. And then lastly, help with Moodle is available again at Moodle support at scoe.net. Support, the most popular support I would say is passwords. So if you have any issues with passwords or even creating a user for the first time, go ahead and reach out to that team and they love to help you. That's what I've got for you guys today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Sylvia. And yeah, I am glad that you went over, more about the AST stuff because there's even more, somewhat confusing terminology sometimes about the AST site versus what's in Moodle, right? And the enrollment keys versus the access codes. All of that is on that web page that I linked before. But yeah, thanks for going over that, Sylvia. All right, and just our last few reminders here before we get to any other questions. So the first reminder, we've mentioned this in the past, but results for the 2024-25 California Spanish Assessment, or CSA, will be released in December. So there was a a delay, a different timeline for those results because of the adjusted or the updated blueprint. So those results coming in December. The RSVP for the initial LPAC closed on October 31st, 2025. So you should continue returning completed initial LPAC K through 2 writing answer books. If you were selected for RSVP, you should continue returning those answer books after locally entering scores into the DEI or data entry interface. And the deadline to set your summative CAASPP testing windows is December 1st, 2025. So that deadline coming up soon. We have a lot of folks who've already done that. We've sent out emails about it, but if you have not, make sure that you are going into Tom's to set your CAASPP testing windows. You have to go through that whole process of entering uh, your schedule, your LEA's schedule, and setting that custom window. And then, of course, after that, the part that often gets missed is that you have to connect your school sites to your windows. If you have multiple windows, you'll have to, determine which schools are applicable to which windows. But even if you only have one, you still have to go in and connect your schools by that date of December 1st. And Moses, did you want to add on?
Yeah, no, I'm not add on, Tyler, but if I may, I just want to share with everyone a little follow-up to what Tyler just said. Please excuse us if we ever send you personal emails, very targeted emails, as just reminders of different things that might have already passed and that we still want to make sure that you know we're not trying to be mean or bad or cops or any. We're trying to work together to support each other. For example, the one that Tyler just said, we have a number of LEAs, and even though, as Tyler said, the deadline is still a little bit of ways, we know what next week is like. We know how your schedule right now is like. And so, just to nudge you, to remind you, some of you are going to be receiving an email from us, just letting you know again about the December 1st to make sure that you're aware that we haven't seen it done yet, and we want to bring that to your attention. I just need to throw one out there that I don't think we always or enough remind you about, but it goes back to initial LPAC. And please don't forget that also important 30-day mandate by when you must administer an initial LPAC. And please, there again, if we nudge you along because we see that there are students that still need to be administered the initial LPAC, please know that again, it's for the sake of us trying to be as supportive of the work that you're doing as we can. And there again, we do know that there are students that need to be given that initial LPAC within that mandated window. And when we see that we need to reach out and work with you and remind you, please know that that is our intent, to be of as much support as we can to you by bringing these things to your attention. So Tyler, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to share that with you.
Of course, Moses. And just an extra little clarifying detail on the testing windows. Someone asked if there's a deadline to set the testing window for the summative LPAC, but there is not because you don't have to set the window for the LPAC. The LPAC has set testing windows. Only the CAASPP and specifically only certain tests have um, the ability to actually kind of customize your window. So for LPAC, you can't customize your window, so nothing to do there. You're already set for LPAC. All right. Last few reminders. Make sure that you all are communicating with your technology coordinators and ensuring that your devices are ready for testing. We've gotten quite a few inquiries about this recently. So first of all, there's support for certain operating systems and secure browsers ended as of October 31st. There was an email with a big old table that has all that information in it. and you can find that on our website. That link is in the resource guide or in the slides here. It was sent on August 20th. That has kind of more detailed information about that. The big one that we keep hearing about is related to Chrome devices or Chromebooks. And if you have Chromebooks that have been updated to the latest Chrome OS operating system, you need a new secure browser, and there's a specific link that needs to go in there when you set that up. There are full details on the secure browsers page, but it can be there's a lot of details. So just make sure that that is set up, and if you're having issues, you can contact your success agent. But Jeff, did you want to add anything about that?
Yeah, Tyler, you kind of hit on it. When you're adding the new link that's basically replacing the kiosk mode that we've all known for so many years now, you have to enter it as it's written in the text. Please don't add any spaces. Please don't remove any of the brackets. It's a very short link, but it's a very important link, and that's basically going to be the lifeline for your Chromebooks going forward. So, as Tyler mentioned, the links are in the updates. If you would like, Tyler, I can even put it here in the chat, so
Sure.
that others that didn't ask questions about it, they didn't get it directly from me, but this could be a source for them to grab it from as well. So I will put it in the chat as well so that everybody has it. Again, copy paste it as it is. It's 4 simple steps to get you on your way for testing this year. But then again, as well, please reach out to success agents, even if you have future questions or needs for your updates.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, the thing that's making people realize there's something wrong is they're going into test and getting an error code. So hopefully you can catch it before it interrupts your testing, if you're planning accordingly. And yeah, if we can put whatever info into the chat or wherever, Jeff, that would be great. All right. I think that's all of our reminders, or do we? Yeah, great. So just to go through some questions left over. So I saw a question come in as we were talking about secure browsers. Do you need a secure browser to do an interim assessment? Yes, you do. For an in-person interim assessment, students will need to use the secure browser. So yes, you will need that installed for the interim assessments. Let's see, another interim assessment related question. I saw a teacher tries to administer an focused IAB and pauses it, resumes the next day, but the students are not able to resume. So what is likely happening there is the pause rules apply to interim assessments in a similar way that they apply to any summative assessments. So most likely the student interacted with all of the items on that interim assessment block. If they were on like the last question, and they interacted with the question at all and then paused, they wouldn't, after a pause of 20 minutes or more, they would not be able to go back in and change any of their answers. So that's most likely what happened. The student interacted with all of the questions. So the student should be able to go in and submit the test. They'll log in and just see the option to submit, but not to answer any questions. But you can submit it and then re-administer that same FIAB, since the opportunities are practically unlimited with the interim assessment blocks. So that is a potential solution there. Let's see. Oh, and then there was a question earlier about, based on the newly updated ELPAC student accessibility graphic, can you explain why the designated support option for pause and replay audio is listed as only applying to grades 3 through 12? So I'll have to go check that it's represented accurately, but what I believe is the case is that the embedded version of pause and replay audio is only applicable to grades 3 through 12, because K through 2 students for the listening portion of the ELPAC would be the test examiner would be playing the audio through toms, would be playing it manually, and there's no pause and replay limit there because the test examiner is controlling the audio. So technically that's a non-embedded support if they have pause and replay for those grades. So I think that might be what is happening there. But if you think that there's something wrong there, and I can take a look at some point, but I think that should explain it. Okay. Look at a few of these other questions here.
And Jeff, I don't know if you noticed that the link posted in the chat, they mentioned that link isn't working. Can we repost that for the kiosk security checks?
Yeah, so technically that link is actually not a link. That link
Uh,
needs to be replaced within your kiosk settings. So it's not, that link is not going to take you anywhere.
Yeah,
What,
but that's the link that needs to be entered into your settings that
correct.
people are getting wrong. That so there's that little section with the bracket, star, period, end bracket that is some folks are not realizing that it needs to look exactly like that when you're putting it into your settings. But we could also link to the secure browser page, maybe
Yeah,
where those full instructions are, Jeff.
we could do that. Yeah,
But yeah,
I'll post that as well.
clicking on that link right now won't do anything for
Yes,
you.
so sorry. Yes, that is
No, no,
just your resource you need for.
for sure. No, but it's good to put that in there to make people aware that that's the piece that is giving folks some trouble.
And Tyler, I wanted to answer this one. They asked why are the ELPAC answer books for the writing domain being shipped to North Carolina instead of New Jersey, and will this expedite scoring? Unfortunately, no, it will not expedite scoring. The only change is we've changed shipping vendors. But scoring is based upon, receiving enough answer books for ETS and the California Department of Education to perform their quality control checks before they release scoring. So scoring is really based upon depending upon how many of you return your answer books. The more answer books we get early on, the earlier that scoring starts. So I hope that helps clarify.
Thank you. Moses, I see your hand up.
Yes, two quick things, Tyler. And Gina, wherever you are in the Q&A that just put something, I need to thank you. And I need to bring this to everyone's attention. All of these issues here, even the little complicated nuances like the Chrome and the secure browser thing, Gina just put something in there that needs to be mentioned and needs to be highlighted. Folks, if you haven't met your success agent, boy, do I need to make sure I put in a plug to make sure you want a lifesaver going into this next summative season. Now, don't wait till February. Now, start reaching out to your success agent, start putting them on speed dial, start getting to know them personally, because even nuances like that. Gina, thank you so much for letting us know that your success agent, yeah, and all those hearts that are flying right now, they should be times 100 to really make sure that all of you know the amazing success agents that you have that are your lifeline to having a successful summative assessment season. So you still don't know where that link is to get your browser updated or the right one? Reach out to your success agent. We're going to put the link in the chat right now to the success agent lookup to make sure that if any of you, of the 500 people that are here right now, don't know who your success agent is, before this session is over, you make sure you connect with your success agent. And here's the last one. I just got inside info. Remember that deadline of December 1st that Tyler told you guys about for some AST training that is due? Well, again, we know next week. Most, if not all of you, are gone, not maybe just the last 2 days of next week. Many, if not a lot of you, are gone all week long. And then guess what happens right after that? December 1st is going to sneak up on you. So I was just informed, there's a whole nice little bunch of us, of y'all, that don't want to go on Thanksgiving break without making sure that you've attended. And Tyler, I don't know if you remember which one is the December 1st deadline, so I don't misspeak. Um, but there's a training that has a deadline of December 1st, and there's a good bunch. And if you're not sure if you're one of them that needs to finish it before you go on Thanksgiving break, guess what? Reach out to your success agent. They'll let you know. They'll be more than happy. They'll be more than happy to make sure that you have a great Thanksgiving break by letting you know if you need to complete that training that is due by December 1st. And
I,
with that, again, your success agents, boy, I can't overemphasize, make sure that you and they are hand in hand. Now,
hmm.
getting yourself all ready for summative assessments. Thank you, Tyler.
Yeah, no problem. I think the deadline that you're talking about is for the LPAC
Yes,
LEA certification, which is
yes.
I think is actually December, oh wait, December 8th for the
Hey,
summative
hey,
LPAC.
good.
So a little bit more time than you
Yeah,
said, but it goes from December 1st to December 8th real quick. So
in a hurry. Yes, thank you,
yeah,
Tyler.
still point well taken. Thanks, Moses. Let's see. There's a question about running reports in SIRS.
Oh, you get yourself?
And about running reports and SIRS and only pulling the most recent tests or most recent scores for each teacher and site. And I'm not actually positive about that. So um, we'll have to look into that, or you might need to follow up with your success agent and we could look into that. I'm pretty sure there's a way, but I'm not recalling it off the top of my head. Um, let's see. Oh, someone said that the December 1st deadline is for the CAAs. Is that right? So maybe
It's up in the PowerPoint. Let's check.
will find it somewhere here. But yeah, I think the main one is that LPAC LEA certification on December 8th, but we'll keep an eye out for that. Let's see here. Oh, it's the testing windows. That's the CAASPP testing windows. To set your testing windows, that deadline is December 1st.
But
Yeah.
there is a December 8th one.
Yeah, December 8th is the
Yep.
Summative LPAC LEA certification due date.
That can sneak up on you in a hurry.
Definitely can. Definitely can.
And
All
just to
right.
let you know, if you don't set your test administration window before December 1st, you will not have access to do it on your own after that. So I think we had still over 500 LEAs that have not set up their test administration window yet. So if you got an email from us today, it was specifically sent to those who have not set up their test administration window. So if you would get that taken care of, we would very much appreciate it.
Definitely. Yeah, and I think this is in response to an earlier question about SIRS groups that someone was asking. Um, that they have, so there is an integration available with certain student information systems or SIS vendors where current uh, class information will be sent to SIRS to create groups for you, but that only covers the current year. If you want groups set up for your teachers to be able to see their students' scores from last year, you need to manually add those. Um, and you should be able to um, download groups from SIRS. Maybe it's too late to do that for last year's groups, but you'll want to do that so that you can upload those. And we usually remind you before the rollover happens for you to be able to do that.
Hey Tyler, can I just
Yeah,
bounce back to the CAS test administration window real quick? I
sure.
know that we're putting a lot of emphasis on getting this done, hopefully before you guys recess for the Thanksgiving break. Just a really keynote that I want to put out there while it's on your minds, because I know it's something that can get forgotten very easily, but just make sure once your window is set up that you are going into that school admin assignment button that's on the home page where the table displays, and that you are connecting your school sites. This is a very crucial step. Setting up the window doesn't necessarily mean that your students and teachers will have access. So please, please be sure that you are also assigning your school sites and attaching them to that window. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm done.
Thank you, Sylvia. It is worth repeating, yes. And yeah,
Um,
you,
oh, go
oh
ahead.
yeah, go ahead.
I was going to just chime in again about the accessibility graphics and the
Hmm.
speaking. The reason why it is only for 3 through 12 is because they're these task types that are in the speaking for the younger grades are speaking with listening, and so the replay audio would undermine and change the construct being measured. And so that's why it is a designated support only for the summarized and academic presentation component of speaking. So just to give you that little background.
Awesome. Thank you, Jessica. Yeah, there you go. Um, Appreciate that extra bit of insight there. Uh, I saw another question about the interim assessments that I could answer. So if a group of students take the ICA or interim comprehensive assessment performance task, but don't do the CAT portion, the adaptive test, although yeah, it's not actually adaptive in the ICA, but I know what you mean. Is it correct that you will not be able to view scores in SIRS? And yes, that is correct. Uh, for the ICA, uh, the interim assessments that kind of mimic the summative, you need to take both parts of that in order for results to flow into SIRS. That is correct. And then a couple of questions about rostering last year's students in SIRS. Um, there's a question, I'll be limited to records for students who are currently enrolled, or will there be scores available for students enrolled in prior years? As long as um, the student tested at your LEA, you should be able to see their prior year scores. So even if they move to a different LEA, you won't see their future scores, but you should still be able to view those students in SIRS. I'm 99% sure of that. And then there was another question about the rostering. Um, so though you can't download last year's groups, I don't think from SIRS, if you have last year's upload file, you can definitely reuse that. It got answered as well in the background, but yes, worth pointing out. Um,
Could we
yes,
just go back to the question a few moments ago regarding the scoring, the two parts of the interim comprehensive assessment?
sure.
I would just like to add on that there are interim assessment blocks that
Yes,
include those same performance tasks. So that is always an option to take just the interim assessment block performance task. And as long as the necessary hand scoring is completed, those results would show up in THRS.
definitely.
Okay,
Thank you,
thank you.
Jessica. Yes, that is a great point. Should have mentioned that yes, there is, while there's the ICA, parts one and two that have the performance task, there is a separate, called an IAB that is called the IAB performance task that is just that standalone performance task that they can take and get scores. Yeah, very good point. Thank you. All right. We are right up against our time. I think we've gotten most of our questions answered here. Um, And if you have any questions left over, though, of course, please follow up with our success agents, um, and we'll make sure to get you going here. Hopefully, everybody has a somewhat, you know, peaceful straightforward holiday season coming up here and go smoothly for everybody. And we will see you in December for our next coffee session on December 9th. So we will see you then, unless anybody has on our team has any last things to throw out. All
Have a
right.
wonderful Thanksgiving, everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you all.
Have a great
Bye.
holiday.